When you overcome the fear of death, it doesn't matter if you die in a nuclear bomb or under a bus. The evolution has an interest in destruction or chaos. A warrior has the right to exist when there is a battle. Without the battle or without the war battleground, the warrior has a boring life. Outside there is war and hate and noise and whatever, and the moment we die, there is peace. Today, from an evolutionary standpoint, we are at the very turning point, because I always say we are witnessing events which will only happen every 5,000 to 10,000 years. So it's a big cycle coming to an end. Before I jump into the topic, I want to have a positive note. So this war and politics and global consciousness is sometimes really perceived as dark or as heavy or as not positive. And I see it very positive. It will help people to understand what I mean. Turning point, I mean, because I see all the systems literally collapsing. The education system, the health system, political system, the financial system. And war or conflict is, I say, part of our evolution. I did some research with AI, and I was mind blown, because AI says since 1 AD we have been 90 to 95% in war or conflict. So conflict is part of our evolution. In a spiritual standpoint, for example, Buddhism, they speak about the Holy Trinity. So there are always 3 elements. Christianity has it as well. In Buddhism is like Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. And I always say that humanity or humans have really big times trouble with the Shiva energy or Shiva destroyer energy, because we are fearful of our own mortality. I will speak about mortality in another show. So let's assume that evolution has an interest in destruction or chaos. You can also call it chaos. I kind of like the chaos theory. It's even in thermodynamics, in physics, is clearly scientific proven that there is a nature's or evolution's preference also for chaos. For me, it's a very simple question, because peace starts from within. There is no peace from without if there is no peace within. And sadly, or maybe not even sadly, ununderstandable, most people are not at peace. Because I hear many times in spiritual world even, I'm a light warrior, or I'm a warrior of something. And I struggle really with the word warrior, because a warrior has the right to exist when there is a battle. Without the battle or without the war battleground, the warrior has a boring life. So it's kind of interesting, maybe even stupid to use the word of warrior. We don't need to be warrior. We need to be less warriors. And there is a nice word in German. They call it the graveyard. They call it Friedhof, which means like the peace ground. And one very spiritual person once told me that, isn't it fascinating that the moment we die, we can lie on a peace ground, and we are even protected. Usually there is a wall around it. And outside there is war and hate and noise and whatever, and the moment we die, there is peace. And I find that interesting, that why not we can have peace. There are great examples. For example, Nelson Mandela, he was at peace even in prison. So I would say it's really, you have the power to be at peace, and peace can be in a minute or in a split second, even if we go through chaos or worst time, etc. You can be still in peace. I don't believe it's necessary that you need to have. Of course, it's nicer if you have a calm environment, and I wish everybody to have a calm environment. I would maybe add as last, if you really want to have a fulfilled life, you need to make, start to learn how to be peace from within. How you can do this with meditation, with gratitude. I have already talked about it. So I would say it's only the two, maybe three. And one last element is psychedelics. It can really help us to become more peaceful from within. Definitely, you don't find it in when you turn on your TV or when you consume social media. The solution has to come from within. I always say every soul has his own journey. We don't know. Even an unborn child can maybe have fulfilled the journey. If somebody wants to fight war and he's dying on a battleground, I can't personally not understand why he went to fight in the first place. Maybe because he was trained by society to be behaving and to fulfill expectation. He felt very patriotic and felt the calling to go and fight for his motherland. I'm also very patriotic, and I still say I would never go and fight war. It's beyond my imagination of stupidity. Why would I contribute with my life? I would never. I go even as far if I'm in a world where my neighbor steals my food, I of course wouldn't shoot him. I would never shoot somebody. It doesn't make sense. I'm shooting myself if I shoot somebody else. It's beyond my intellect. So that's what I'm saying, and I'm very optimistic that people are waking up, and that would be a turning point. And I see it in Europe is really happening. They have problems recruiting soldiers. The younger generation is smart enough that they understand I'm not dying on a battleground for a stupid politician. What would be the consequence if you don't go to war? Maybe they imprison you, maybe you have to flee the country. There are still options. Is imprisonment worse than fighting a war on the battleground? I don't know. It can also sound very arrogant. I have met a lot of people who avoided to be recruited for wars. I believe at the end we still have a choice. I can only speak in my word. Even if they call a mandatory whatever going to war thing scenario, I would never ever. I would always find a way around. You can call that unpatriotic, whatever. I'm also not claiming, that's very important, I'm not claiming to own the truth. Everybody of us needs to have his own understanding. I can only speak how I see it, and I see really more and more people have the same understanding like what I'm sharing. Like they are waking up and say, no, we are not fighting these stupid wars, because at the end passports and borders, they didn't exist not so long ago. It's only a concept of later evolution. I would say 1,000 years and before we were truly free. The land was free. The last 199,000 years of evolution of humankind, it was free. We haven't had this ownership or tight border controls, whatever, passports. That's a new concept. The war are a reflection of many things. I would say three. One is nature, because nature is for example, sun activities will reach next year its peak, and as more active the sun is, as more the humans are affected, or let's put it that way, as more easy humans are affected into conflict. So at the end you can also say sun is making us having more fights. So there are different elements. The next one is this living in the matrix and being cut off from our intuition, because we are constantly busy making money and being externally entertained on really cheap entertainment and sugar. So you can call that being asleep or being manipulated, being a puppet of the matrix, like being 9 to 5, almost surviving on an income. I mean, imprisonment is already there. We don't need to be put in a prison. We are really, George Orwell, we are there. already. So, and the key is everybody has the power to wake up and to step up and have a life of joy and freedom is still, I say we are still living in the most amazing times ever. We have but we are in a very abundant universe, so there is truly abundance everywhere. There is peace and happiness and joy. It's your choice if you want to have it or not, or if you want to depend on media manipulation. And of course, media manipulation makes us more separate, same like religion. I haven't found anything good from news, prove me wrong. Or government, people still, and I can't believe it. I think it was Reagan, he said the most dangerous words out there is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. Can you believe a US president says that? So, but there's still so many people believing in government will come and save them, and government has good intention for the people. No, it's not. And it has been the last thousands of years. I like the conversation about nuclear weapons because a lot of people, even if you mention that word, they go immediately. The Cold War in Europe, and I grew up in Cold War, it made people really schizophrenia. You thought the Russians are behind every corner and there will be a nuclear war every next moment. The interesting thing, when Oppenheimer invented the nuclear bomb, he said it's back on Earth. And there was a nuclear war 4,000 years ago in Pakistan. You can do some research. We have used nuclear bombs in the past, and I'm quite confident we use it again. It is beyond stupidity to even think about using nuclear weapons. When you overcome the fear of death, it doesn't matter if you die in a nuclear bomb or under a bus. I even see positive. I shared with my friend a while ago that I would even see it positive. I think to go up in a nuclear blast must be quite exciting compared with a car accident. So you can always turn things around in a positive way, that even the most frightening thing will be not so dark as you maybe see from media or outer world. Maybe why I'm optimistic, because nature will interfere before. I mean, we are on Unfiltered podcast. I believe that there is the cosmic, or it's not the Earth only question even. There was enough evidence, for example, in Fukushima, Chernobyl, there are higher forces, you can call them extraterrestrial intelligence, who will step up. In my opinion, is even nature, because nature, there will be a moment when it gets too violent or too chaos on Earth, nature would just simply get rid of most of us. And I believe we are going into that scenario, that you can call it with earthquakes, volcanoes, because I believe there will be so many earthquakes and volcanoes that we will be busy with dealing with nature's problem served to human, and we are not really busy fighting US, China, Russia. So I'm very optimistic on that way, that nature is stepping up first. So there will be no nuclear Armageddon. Some people say that after this Third World War, I believe really it's unavoidable. People don't want to speak it up. Maybe we are already in it. I believe we are already in it. It's a shift of empires. I was on a peace conference, I don't know why, and I asked the question, have we come collectively to a level of consciousness that we don't fight another big war? And nobody could deny it. So yes, there will be another big war. I don't need to know how and when and where. I don't care. I can just give a guarantee, with all my love and heart and hope. We don't have yet the global collective consciousness, but we are going there. We actually, humanity is going to a level where we become self-aware, and that will be really beautiful. Once we become self-aware, there is no separation anymore. It's like ants. It will be really a collective organism. I always say, if we would not have suppressed, that's the biggest crime on earth, is the suppression of potential. If we would not have suppressed our potential for the last 200,000 years, we would travel the galaxies. It's fascinating. All time and money wasted to fight each other instead of collaboration, and raising consciousness. My spiritual teacher also say without psychedelics we will be doomed anyway. So I believe also that will be a major part of raising collective consciousness and to maybe save our ass. There is a really easy thing you can practice, and many people think polarity and duality is the same, but it's not. Everything in nature is polarity. So there is day and night, there is female and male. And something has happened around 300 years ago that we started to become dualistic. And dualistic means I use but or. So Jewish or Christian, black or white, male or female. And always when I use or but, and when you listen to politicians, they only talk in but, I deny what I just said. For example, I feel connected with blah blah, but I don't like him or her. So it's not true. If I would rephrase that sentence, I feel connected and I don't like him or not, there is always a bridge. So in other words, if you want to overcome this illusion of others / blaming others for your miserable life, blaming the government, start to use and, because you can say I don't like or I disagree and I see it that way. It uses a little bit of practice. I do in business a lot in my meetings, because the issue is really, if you use or but, you immediately judge, as I said, Jewish or Christian. And you can say Jewish and Christian. So both is fine, both is the same. At the end is the same concept anyway. So I would say really overcome this illusion of separation and you will have a much more peaceful life, also in this time of chaos or separation. Pray like a lover and not like a beggar. So I like that a lot, because praying like a lover means like I really do it from my heart, not because I'm in a lack. Prayer, in my opinion, is always so, oh my God, is so negative. Like I have a miserable life and I pray to my God, whoever that might be, that he will save my ass from this miserable life. No, it should be, I do it from a love and gratitude. I think prayers are very powerful if it's from a positive, not from a mindset of lack or that there is something missing and the Almighty needs to save me. So I wish you really positive prayers and that you enjoy the freak show, I always say. Enjoy the show and trust the divine that everything will be arranged for you regardless of what you have in mind.